Hi everybody, I'm Susan Mulvihill. Welcome back to our garden in Spokane, Washington. Now, no matter where you live, I'm sure you've been hearing a lot about Spokane lately, and that's because we have had just devastating and heartbreaking wildfires. Hundreds and hundreds of people have lost their homes, and it is just really depressing, to be honest. The smoke has been awful, and today we're getting a bit of a break in it. And since I wasn't able to shoot a video for you last week, I decided today's the day and I'm going to do it very quickly. But before I get started, I wanted to thank all of you. I cannot tell you how many people have contacted us and said, "Are you and Bill okay? What's happening there?" and so on. And so I've done my best to answer everybody. And you know, it just warms my heart because all of you are such special people. So thank you very much for checking on us. We are doing all right. So the fires have been to the northwest and northeast of us, plus in different areas around the state of Washington, in Oregon, in British Columbia, just all over the place because it is so dry. We've been staying indoors, keeping an eye on the air quality. We've rushed out to the garden with a mask on occasionally to grab something to make for dinner or to harvest something. And so that's been our routine. And it's so nice to have a little break today because I can be out for a few minutes and enjoy the surroundings. Now today I've got my sunglasses on because the light is really odd. The other day it gave me a migraine and I don't want to repeat that. So yeah, I'm kind of covered up here, but this is the best I can do. So what is the topic? Well, it's what I was going to shoot last week, and that is different types of things you should be doing in your garden during the month of August. And I'm talking about both your vegetable garden and your ornamental garden. So let's get started. Most everywhere is hot and dry during the month of August. It's important to do smart watering so you can conserve water the best you can while keeping your plants healthy and productive. This means watering deeply and less frequently, which will benefit your plants much more than frequent shallow watering sessions. Did you know that containers dry out much more quickly than in-ground plantings? It's true. So always check on your pots, poke your finger into the potting soil, and adjust the amount of water they get as needed. You also want to give them fertilizer once a month. For ornamental plantings, I like to give them Osmocote. Mulch will help the soil retain its moisture and also help keep the plant's roots cooler. So it is definitely a good thing to do, especially this time of year. Now I use grass clippings from our lawn because we don't use weed and feed or any other types of herbicides. If I did, it would kill the plants. That's not a good thing. So this is what I use for mulch. You could also use shredded leaves or straw, and it will really benefit your plants. If you're dealing with really hot temperatures, it's a good idea to provide plants with some shade cloth. Remember to place it a bit above the plants rather than laying the shade cloth directly on them, because that would trap the heat, making things even worse for them. I know nobody likes to weed, but the thing you need to remember is that weeds compete with the plants we're growing on purpose for moisture, nutrients, and space. So if you keep up with the weeds, it's going to make your job much easier and the plants will grow great. So I just walk along, and if I see a weed or weeds, I immediately pull them. And if you were to walk through this garden yourself, you would notice there's almost nothing for weeds, and that's because I keep up with them. I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to monitor your garden on a regular basis. For one thing, it's a very pleasant way to spend a few minutes, And the other thing is that you might spot a problem that's happening. Maybe a plant isn't getting enough water. Maybe you see an insect problem starting up. So when you jump on things like that, you have fewer problems because you nip those things in the bud. Be sure to keep an eye on your vegetable crops so that you know when they're ready to be harvested. It's much better to pick something that is at its peak of perfection rather than something that's past it, right? So these Zephyr zucchinis are not quite ready, but I'm keeping an eye on them. Are some of your veggie plants struggling? Maybe the leaves are looking a little bit pale, or the plants just aren't producing normally? It could certainly be due to the intense heat many areas have been dealing with, but give your plants a little pick-me-up with some liquid fertilizer. We like to use this one from Fox Farm once a month and dilute it with water based on the label recommendations. I grow all sorts of wonderful flowers, and the way to keep them blooming is for you to deadhead them. This means removing spent flowers because if you don't, the plants will essentially shut down production. They'll focus their energy on producing seeds rather than blooming for you more. Now that said, I don't deadhead certain types of flowers. Why? Well, I want to help out the birds by leaving seed heads on the plants so they can feast on them during the fall and winter months. So examples would be coneflowers, black-eyed Susans, Gloriosa daisies, and lavender. This has been such a hot, dry summer, and we want to help out our bird friends. So I scrub out the bird baths every day and refill them with nice, cold, fresh water. They will really appreciate you for it. I recently started some seedlings for our fall garden. They are giant winter spinach, mesclun lettuce, and a short season cabbage called Tiara. I can grow them in our little hoop house through the colder months, but even if you don't have a structure like that, you can still plant them under hoops and plastic to keep them warm as the days and nights get chillier. Of course, you'd want to open up the plastic on the warm days so you don't fry the poor little babies. But you'll be so glad that you planted a fall garden. Okay, that's everything for today. I hope you are all doing well and staying safe. Thanks so much for watching today, everybody. Happy gardening.